Hello there everybody, this is Krista and welcome back to Crochet Witch Tarot. And today I'm really excited about this video idea. So I have been learning a new divination system, and that is Osteomancy, which is divination through bones, bone throwing, whatever you want to say. So I have this set. I guess I should start this video by saying warning, animal bones. If you are not a fan of seeing animal bones, this might not be the video for you. They are small, it's nothing crazy. I have a set of, gosh, what was it called? Basically a little osteomancy kit that I got from this really amazing shop called Wheat and Chaff. I will definitely link them below. So all of the bones sold by the wonderful owner are found completely naturally while she's on hikes, roaming around in the woods. She finds the bones herself and cleans them. In my case, paints them and sells them. So completely ethically sourced. They are just happened upon naturally. So that I will say. Now, this case that it's in was also foraged, I guess you could say, and used as the holder for the bones, which I think is also really neat. So I wanted to start off by kind of showing this kit. Now, these are all sheep and deer toe bones with these little symbols drawn on by the shop owner. They're super cool. Now, each of these sets, I believe, are unique. She does have a little osteomancy guide that you can use but in my case, it had some of the symbols, but not all of the symbols. So I just kind of decided to make sense of them for myself. Really neat. So I've been getting into this for the past few months now. And while obviously my main form of divination is tarot, cartomancy, whatever phrase you want to use, this is something I've really been enjoying as well. And it just got me thinking how I bet there's lots of other divination forms that a lot of us practice, you know, outside of cartomancy or alongside cartomancy. In my case, I like to combine the two. So I thought it would be neat to make a little tag. I think I'm going to call it #HowIDivine, where if you have any other sort of divination method you really enjoy working with, again, on its own or alongside, you know, tarot and oracle, I thought this could be a cool way to kind of show that off, because of course, you know, on TarotTube here, our main focus is tarot, which I love. Obviously, that is a huge interest of mine, but I thought it would be really neat to get to showcase, you know, what else we do. So, for me, that is osteomancy. So I wanted to show a reading, so this is gonna be kind of a, not live, but unedited reading I do for myself, combining osteomancy, and I personally combine them with a very specific deck. This is the Feel Your Chakras Oracle, made by Andy from Metaphysics Made Easy. She also has an Etsy shop that I will link. These cards are just really unique. So it's split up into the different chakras. Now, I actually don't work with chakras personally, but I do think that it's still interesting to see the concepts categorized in this way. And I find this oracle really, really useful, even though I don't specifically do chakra work. Again, the concepts behind it I think are really just generally useful. And this deck is really different and just hits on a lot of things that I do not have any other deck that does. There are so many cards. I think that's really the unique thing as well. And I like the size, and I just love everything about it. So we will showcase that later on, and how I finalize my readings with these cards, you could say. But I'm gonna pause here because I just realized I do not have my iPad, which is where my own little cheat sheet for these bones is stored, the meanings I associated with them. So I'm gonna go get that, and then I will take you through the whole process. Okay, let's get started, why don't we? Here, excuse all the window glares, but again, I wanted this to be kind of real to what I do. So, not that I really stage anything, but I couldn't really fix the glaring. This is my chalkboard. So this is where I like to do a lot of these readings, because instead of getting one standardized bone throwing, you can use any sort of casting board. That's what I'm gonna call it. Instead of getting one standardized casting board, since I really like trying out different kinds of boards, I have a chalkboard so that I can draw it on myself, and then when I'm done with the reading, just wipe it right off, and then next time I can do the same one, or I can try something else. So today I'm going to do one that I really enjoy to use. It's pretty standard, I would say. I'm always so bad at making the different sections even. Find it easier to do it this way instead of drawing straight lines across. There's my hot tip of the day. Okay, is that visible? Somewhat. All right, so up here we have social. We're gonna put, work over there. Here, I put wealth, but I do not mean that specifically in, you know, a like finance kind of way. It can mean that, but I like to think of it as, do I have enough lines here? Gosh darn it. I'm missing a line. Ugh. Okay. We're gonna wipe this off and we're gonna start over. Be back yet again. All right, take two. I told you this would be real. Uncut. Gosh, straight lines are hard. Okay, this is what we were missing here. There we go. Now we got... Yep, we're in business. We're in business now. Okay. All right. Now we have... social. Work. Wealth. Over here I have well-being. Now that could be physical or mental. And we have a cat who wants to be involved. Thank you so much. Home. Oop. Spirit. Advice, and we have partnership. Long word. All right, there we go. Now, I take my bones, attempt to hold them all in my hand at once. That doesn't always work for me. Okay, and then I just kind of mix them around, and either I'm thinking about what I want the reading to be about, or no, that's what I'm doing. Because even in this case where I just want a general check-in, that's what I'm thinking about, that's what I'm asking for. Just a general reading, a general check-in, which I do think this kind of reading and this kind of board I made is really good for. And then when I feel like it's ready, I just toss them and see how they land. So there's gonna be a bang. I'm just gonna warn you now. Okay, you want a general check-in. Okay, now I'm gonna push to the side all the ones that did not land on the board. Bring these better into view, get our picture. Okay, so we have home. This one feels like it's home in spirit. Sometimes I feel like they land in 2 categories, sometimes not. So I will bring up the bones so that you can see them. Now, before we interpret those, this is where my cards come in. Oh, they're there. So now I'm also gonna shuffle these Feel Your Chakra cards, also asking for a general check-in. And what I do is I will put a card into every section that a bone has landed into. So the only one here that we are not doing is work. I guess there's no check-in there. Ooh, interesting. Whoop. All right. One more. Now the cool thing about these cards is that the backs, there's 7 different backs to go with the 7 different chakras. Pretty neat. All right, so now we're just gonna go through section by section and then bring it all together. So we're gonna start up here with social. So for social, I have this bone, which I have taken to be, it looks to me like a railroad track. So to me, this speaks to travel, a need to move on, move forward in some way. And then we got a heart chakra card. I love with respect. Balanced. So to me, this is speaking to, in the realm of my social interactions, there's a need to move on from any sort of imbalance. That's what I'm feeling like this is saying. I love with respect, to me, is saying a two-way street. So how am I conducting myself in my social relationships that shows respect to the other person while still offering respect to myself? Because a lot of the times I tend to give too much, which maybe is respectful to the other person, but is that being respectful to me? Not really. So that's what I'm getting from this. Now we will go, we're gonna go counter, I don't know, we're just gonna go with it. So in wealth, we have this one I take to be, it's kind of like a dice, which is really cool. So we have a 2, 4, 1, 3. So the way I've interpreted this is to look into the numerology behind 1 through 4. So 3 is all about creativity, optimism, curiosity. And the card we have is a throat chakra. I talk and I am a good listener. So what I'm thinking with wealth, I'm taking it, again, it doesn't necessarily mean money. I'm thinking more of a general sense of abundance. So where am I going to seek that out right now? In my creative projects, seeking out curiosity. And I feel like where that's going to spark is in conjunction with someone else. Whether it's working with one other person, working with a group, anything like that. Feeding off of other people. Talking, but also making sure that I am listening. That I'm not kind of getting stuck in my own head when it comes to my own ideas, that when someone has something to say or a piece of advice, that I am taking that into consideration. Well-being. We have, well, I guess, so I took this bone to be kind of an in-between with well-being and home. So we're going to do home first, which has the little bird print. This, I take to mean a sense of freedom and of expansiveness. And in home we have a sacral chakra. I feel emotionally open. And you know what, let's go over here too. Well-being. I talk, but I am not being honest with myself. And the human hand, which is what we have right here, to me speaks to connection, relating with others, but can also be pointing to some sort of ancestor message. That's not what I'm getting here. I'm thinking more of like connecting, relating to others. And I know exactly, so these feel connected to me. And then we'll go over to the spirit side because that's also connected. So our space has been pretty cluttered. We've been doing some projects in the house that have been making a mess. And it's one of those feelings where it's like no matter how much I feel like I'm tidying, it's never put together. I'm also not good at tidying. I'm not good at keeping spaces clean, mostly because the things that I want to be doing, things I want to be paying attention to, I need them to be left out. I can't put them away or I'm gonna forget. And so I think what this is pointing to is there's a need to connect to others, most likely Paul, who I live with, about this feeling I'm having around the clutter and needing to ask for help, really, of finding a way to manage that while also still being able to leave out what I need to leave out in a more organized way. So there is an expansiveness to that, a freedom in being able to ask, because I cannot stay stuck in my own thoughts. There's no one better at organizing than he is. He's a very good organizer. So that's the place for me to go. Let's go over to the spirit section. We have the plant symbol connecting home and spirit. The plant to me is all about growth and new beginnings. So in the spirit, we also have the solar plexus. I do act bossy. Well, okay. This is talking about really reclaiming my space. And when I'm talking about the clutter that's making me a little bit nervous, it's my tarot room I have here. It feels cluttered with things that do not belong in here, and I cannot focus on much, so my spiritual practice has definitely fallen to the wayside over the past week. I've not connected with it pretty much at all, which doesn't make me feel good, but there's just like this stuck feeling of knowing I have to fix it, but not knowing the how. But this is telling me that I feel like it's act bossy in a good way of like, reclaim the space, know you belong in here, do what you want with it, you can, take that ownership. Whether, for not good or for bad, but whether it's, like sometimes I think I have to create boundaries with myself too, of, yes, there's all this clutter going on, but is a lot of it from me? Yeah. So I gotta act bossy with myself too, you know? And that's gonna provide this asking for help, being honest about what I need is gonna provide a chance for growth and new beginnings and a real reset for this room where a lot of my spiritual work is conducted. It's a really important part of that. So we're gonna save the advice for last. I generally like to do that. But partnership, we have mushroom, which to me is very reminiscent of like the death card in tarot. So decay and transformation. Now I know this is a heart chakra card. Yes, heart chakra. I love but lose sense of my personal boundaries. So again, I think this is really speaking to boundaries with myself, of the transformation that needs to happen here in my partnership, you know, specifically in the home, is that I need to ask for help when I need it. I'm not good at that. I'm really not. The help is always there if I'm just willing to ask, but I don't. So that's the change and transformation that definitely needs to happen. And the advice, we have the bricks, the brick wall, as I say, which is all about boundaries and barriers. So here we have a third eye card. I see and can get mentally overwhelmed. Well, all right. I will say, these cards will call you out in the best way possible, but they will. So the advice here is to know my limits. I get overwhelmed, especially when my space is cluttered in a way that... So here's the thing. I exist in clutter, but in a clutter that makes sense to me. But there is a point where it gets too cluttered and it stops making sense. It stops being purposeful. Like I said, I need to leave things out so that I remember to do them. So that's clutter with a purpose. But when it just gets generally cluttered, I get really overstimulated, really overwhelmed very easily. And that tends to work against me, where then I kind of get stuck and I cannot do the tidying that just needs to happen. And so I need to be aware of that barrier and again, ask for help. So putting this all together, the way that I need to be respectful all around, open and honest, talking and listening, is by asking for help when I need it, not being embarrassed by it, because I have no reason to be embarrassed. It's okay that I get overwhelmed. It's okay that I get overstimulated when it comes to spaces not being tidy, and knowing that in a household, we're all gonna have our strengths and weaknesses. Tidying and keeping a space neat is not my strength, but it is Paul's. And that's what he really likes to do. I can ask for that help and ask for help kind of reclaiming my space so that I can feel better and more grounded and get back into the things that I really like doing. Because it is amazing how much your space can affect your ability to do certain things. But I'm saying me, but I think that's a relatable thing. And so the boundaries I have to set right now are with myself. which it happens. It happens. And that's okay. And it's good to be aware of that. And knowing that, yes, boundary setting is great. And sometimes those boundaries need to be with your own self. But anyway, I think that's all I have to say on that. I hope you all enjoyed this as like a little example of this other divination method I really have been enjoying. And if you're interested in showing off what else you do, I would love if you use the tag, #HowIDivine, so that I can definitely make sure I see it. Or, you know, again, if you post any videos or pictures, or just want to send it to me without posting it anywhere, I would love to see that. I think it's so cool learning about these things. But I think that's all I have for today. So I hope you're all having a wonderful beginning to your week.